Has the US ever been close to a dictatorship? History shows that executive power has expanded dramatically during crises, but each time democratic institutions have pushed back. Dictatorship. Throughout American history, the fear of tyranny has been deeply embedded in the nation's DNA. Yet there have been moments where executive power has expanded so dramatically that scholars question whether democracy was at risk. In this video, we'll explore these pivotal moments, the concept of constitutional dictatorship, and whether the US ever truly came close to authoritarian rule. Let's dive in. The term constitutional dictatorship might sound contradictory, but it refers to a system where emergency powers allow a leader to bypass normal democratic processes legally. In the US, the Constitution grants extraordinary powers to the president during times of crisis, often through executive orders, emergency declarations, and wartime measures. For example, the Insurrection Act allows the president to deploy troops domestically. The National Emergencies Act lets presidents enact policies without congressional approval, and wartime powers have led to mass surveillance, censorship, and detainment in the past. Have these powers ever come close to pushing the US toward dictatorship? Let's examine some key moments. During the Civil War, from 1861 to 1865, Abraham Lincoln made some of the boldest executive decisions in American history. To maintain the Union, he suspended habeas corpus, allowing the military to detain citizens without trial. He imposed martial law in certain areas and arrested journalists and political opponents who criticized the war effort. While these measures were temporary and aimed at preserving the nation, they raised alarms about unchecked executive power. Some even accused Lincoln of acting like a dictator, but the war ended, elections continued, and democracy survived. This set a precedent: extreme measures could be taken, but only temporarily. The Great Depression and World War II, another period of immense executive power expansion under Franklin D. Roosevelt, or FDR. The New Deal dramatically increased the federal government's role in the economy. FDR was elected 4 times, the only US president to serve more than 2 terms. In 1942, he signed Executive Order 9066, forcing over 120,000 Japanese Americans into internment camps, a severe violation of civil liberties. Critics feared FDR's extended rule could evolve into something authoritarian. Congress eventually passed the 22nd Amendment in 1951, limiting presidents to 2 terms, a direct response to fears of prolonged power. During the Cold War, fears of nuclear war led to secretive continuity of government plans under President Eisenhower. These plans included pre-written executive orders for declaring martial law, secret facilities for government officials in case of an attack, and the potential suspension of civilian control over certain military functions. While these measures were never implemented, they highlighted how emergency powers could theoretically sideline democratic processes. The 9/11 attacks in 2001 ushered in a new era of expanded executive authority under President George W. Bush. The Patriot Act gave the government broad surveillance powers. The Department of Homeland Security centralized intelligence operations. The detention of enemy combatants at Guantanamo Bay challenged due process rights. While these measures were justified as necessary for national security, they sparked debate over how far a democracy could go before resembling an authoritarian system. So, has the US ever been close to a dictatorship? History shows that executive power has expanded dramatically during crises, but each time democratic institutions have pushed back. Lincoln's war powers ended after the Civil War. FDR's extended presidency led to term limits. Post-9/11 policies faced legal challenges and revisions. The checks and balances in the US system, along with a strong cultural resistance to authoritarianism, have so far prevented a permanent shift toward dictatorship. But history teaches us a crucial lesson: democracy is fragile. It is only as strong as the people's willingness to protect it. What do you think? Could the US ever fall into dictatorship? Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more deep dives into history and politics.